Vivek did come here in search of, he was attracted to this tinsel town. For me, that was not the case. My grandmother was an actor. So we've been working since the time we were kids with the knowledge that we are here for the service of art and not to become stars. Vivek did come with that point of view, but then he soon realized that this is not his cup of tea, because even he doesn't belong.
Yeah.
So I think he's happy where he is now.
What do you have to say to those people who are already calling the vaccine war an agenda-driven film?
I don't have anything to say to them because they are not my audience.
Okay.
And also they are not the kind of people who will understand the sentiment of the country also. If you feel free when you go to a bar, or if you feel free when you smoke a cigarette, or if you feel free when you have a drink, that is going down the wrong way. Those are categorized as bad habits.
Hi Pallavi ji.
Hello.
Welcome to News 18.
Thank you.
How are you?
Very well.
First of all, big congratulations on yet another national award.
Thanks.
Do you think the Kashmir Files win at the national award in a way has shut down all the detractors?
No, it had shut them down long before.
Long back.
Yeah, it didn't take a national award to do that. I think the success of the film was enough. Though the award came as a big surprise for me.
Okay.
Because I somewhere had thought that maybe I will not win. Because I was very sure that the film would win. It was the kind of film that I knew cannot go unnoticed.
That's right.
But this has happened for the second time, which I think is a record. And I'm more happy because of that than because of the national award, is the fact that Vivek and I, we have both, as a husband and wife team, won awards within the same year for the same film.
That's so special.
This is a record, and we made this record, or we established this record last year, and then this year we are just repeating it.
Great.
So that is a great sense of satisfaction. And while I'm on my third, Vivek has suddenly come from nowhere, because he came into the industry much after me, but he's on his second national award already, so I'm extremely proud of him.
Great. Because I remember calling you after I got the news. You just called me, your voice was still sleepy. You were like, it's 6:30.
We were in Chicago, yeah.
I just came to know I won the national award. I don't know how to react.
Right.
Okay. So, the vaccine war, we have seen this amazing video of you taking the film to people, across USA. I think I also saw a shot of Mr. R. Madhavan.
Yeah.
Speaking to you about the film. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you meet him? What was his,
Oh, Madhavan
input?
happened to be in Washington, D.C., where we were screening the film.
Okay.
And actually, I think he was on a tour, and we kept missing him in all the other cities. But I think we caught up with each other in D.C. And Vivek spoke to him, and he, I think, was leaving the same night, but then he said, I'll come and watch the film.
And he did.
So he sat down, he watched the entire film, and after that he came and he spoke about it. And the thing that he said, it resonated so much with me as a filmmaker. He told me that the film in itself is so good, and it comes with such a great sense of patriotism,
Right.
that everything is going to get wiped out in front of the magnitude of the emotions that you feel after the film. He says, Pallavi, you have done a wonderful job, but nobody's going to speak about your acting because everybody's only going to talk about the film.
Yeah.
So, when you hear somebody like Madhavan, who's such an incredible actor himself and such a committed filmmaker, when you hear this thing from him, it really,
You feel
gladdens
happy.
your heart.
I'm sure.
And also,
yeah.
Maddie is a very dear friend. We've worked together long back when he started his career. I think his first serial was with me.
Oh.
Arohan. And then Vivek directed both of us together for a series called Ye Kahan Aa Gaye Hum. This was in 93 or 94, I think. Yeah, by then Madhavan was a little established in television. So we go back a long way. So a friend, committed filmmaker and a wonderful actor. What more do you need?
That is so sweet. Yesterday at the trailer launch, you said something that really resonated, I think, not just with me, but a lot of women out there, working women. The fact that the way in which you show women empowerment in the film, of course, now these women who we see in the lab, working on the vaccine day in and out, they also have families at home.
Yeah.
And, they are simultaneously sort of juggling, successfully so. So now this is one side of women empowerment, as feminism should be. But, of late, in films, we see very, lopsided, if I may say, concepts of feminism, in the name of women empowerment. There's a lot of talks on sexual liberation and all of that. You as a filmmaker, as a woman yourself, how do you look at women empowerment and its portrayal in cinema?
See, I think there is a lot of overlap between these two words, empowerment and liberation. Liberation necessarily means freedom, and you want freedom from whatever shackles that you are in. Liberation can go any which way that you want. But empowerment is constant. Empowerment is something that I think the women of India have always had. I know my mother was an empowered woman. My grandmother was an empowered woman. Not just because both of them were working women, but also because their decisions were more or less final, in the house. As is true with most of our mothers. There is a short, for an example, I'll just tell you. When I was a child, every time we went out for dinner with my parents to their friend's place, there was dinner going on, party going on. Naturally, it used to get late. At some point, my mother would just stand up, look at my father and say, "It's late, I think we should get going." In Marathi, she would say, "Chaluya, niguya," something. And then my father would promptly stand up and say, "Let's go." And then he would say his bye to everyone and we would leave.
Yeah.
Never once do I remember my father saying, "Arey, theek hai yaar, baad mein chalte hain." Never once. There was no question about saying no to her, Where does this respect come from? This respect has always been there for, our mothers. Our fathers have always respected our mothers. Quarrels and stuff that is a different thing. But their role as a woman of the house, as somebody who has been looking after the family, was always unquestioned. Their decisions for homemaking were always final. They chose to be at home, but then that is also empowerment, right? They get to choose it.
Yeah,
like for that matter, I had at one point in time stopped working when the children came along because I wanted to spend time with them. And a lot of my friends from the industry, they told me, "Arey, ghar pe kyun baith rahi ho yaar? I mean, you're a working woman, you should keep working." So I said, no, having children and looking after them is equally important. If I have decided to start a family, it is my job to look after them. And between the two of us, one of us has to stay at home. Vivek had just started his career in movies when the children came along. So it was very unfair on my part to ask him to step down because his career was just on the upswing. Whereas I had a huge, a lap. I started working when I was 4 and I've been working non-stop until the time I had my kids. So I said, I know I've had a good run in the film industry and I know I have loyal audiences who will accept me back once I start making movies again. So it doesn't matter, I will take that sabbatical. So I sat at home and I kept looking after my kids. And this was a very empowered decision on my part. To say that I choose not to work for a few years and I want to sit at home. The power to make this decision was mine and no one else's. So this is something that we don't understand. And if you feel free when you go to a bar, or if you feel free when you smoke a cigarette, or if you feel free when you have a drink, that is going down the wrong way. Those are categorized as bad habits. That doesn't mean liberation.
Right.
Liberation can mean when somebody is not letting you be what you are, and then you come out as a person, and something that has been inside of you that needs a vent, that could be a moment of liberation for you. So yes, there is an overlap between these two which needs to be sorted.
Right. Okay, so what do you have to say to those people who are already calling the vaccine war an agenda-driven film?
I don't have anything to say to them because they are not my audience.
Okay.
And also they are not the kind of people who will understand the sentiment of the country also. We have always been saying, may it be the Tashkent Files, may it be the Kashmir Files, may it be Tashkent Files, they kept calling that a propaganda film. Now, Lal Bahadur Shastri was a Congress leader. How was that a propaganda film? I don't understand. But anyway, I have nothing to say to them because they are not my audience. I would just like, if they are listening to me, I would just like to ask them to see my film once and then decide for themselves what this is.
Yeah.
But they won't see the film because they know that they'll get converted once they see the film.
Okay. You know, a lot of conversation, ma'am, is happening about what Naseer Saab has to say. I just heard you say.
Everybody is asking me questions about Naseer Bhai
No,
today.
my question is not this. Like you said, you know, your friendship or your equation in general with him goes back a long way. You have worked with him earlier. Is it okay, in your opinion, to be working with somebody who share a completely different ideology? Do you believe in keeping the art and the artist separate?
Yes, provided you're not talking behind their backs. Up until that time, everything is fine.
Okay. Do you think conversations are happening behind your back?
No, we don't work with people who talk behind our backs because obviously they will not stay true to the project.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, is there any sequel happening to the Kashmir Files?
Sequel to the Kashmir Files?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few things.
No.
No?
No. The next film after this is the Delhi Files, which concludes the trilogy that we started.
Okay. You know, in an interview, Vivek sir had said that, you know, post the 2000s, the doors of the castle that Bollywood is had shut completely for outsiders. Do you agree with him?
Kind of. Bollywood, yes. Indian film industry, no. These are two different things.
Right.
I'm part of the Indian film industry, but I'm not part of the Bollywood insiders. So yeah, they have always been...
Do you feel the lack of support from your own fraternity sometimes?
See, the thing is that there is no fraternity here.
Okay.
You know, Indian film industry is a very, very wide term. And anybody can come here and make movies. Anybody who has an iota of talent can come here and showcase their own movies. They can get into different professions. This is not a job where you have a boss sitting over you who tells you to work from 9 to 5. It's your creativity and it's the connection between your creativity and your audience. But when you start making teams and groups and clans out of it, and then start thinking that that is where the whole world exists, that is fine too if you want to live in that echo chamber. But when other people start believing that that is where it is, then it becomes a problem, as a lot of people have faced but haven't been talking about it. We decided not to belong because we were never a part of it. I was, I think, culturally very different from most of them.
Right since the beginning.
Right since the beginning. I come from a very, very strong family. I have had very strong family values, and I'm very, as I said yesterday, I'm very Indic person, you know. So for me to go up to that level where I don't think I'll ever be able to belong. So for me, it doesn't matter. Vivek did come here in search of, he was attracted to this tinsel town. For me, that was not the case. My grandmother was an actor. So we've been working since the time we were kids with the knowledge that we are here for the service of art and not to become stars. So anytime I tried to throw a tantrum on the sets just for the heck of it, my father would promptly bring me down on ground and say that this is where you belong, you can't be flying high.
Right.
First give a shot and then ask for your tea or whatever, I mean, that is how we've been brought up. Vivek did come with that point of view, but then he soon realized that this is not his cup of tea, because even he doesn't belong.
Yeah.
So I think he's happy where he is now.
Right. Lastly, ma'am, your children are at that age where they've sort of formed opinions about things. How do they react to your films, to let's say the Kashmir Files, the vaccine war?
Our children work with us.
Oh, great.
They did Kashmir Files. My daughter did our production. She was one of the team members, and Manan was assisting my husband. And Manan has continued working with us. Malika has, of course, she's already done 4 projects with Buddha. And now she's started working outside. She wants to become a producer. So I said, start ground up. Yeah, you have to know everything. You can't just because you're privileged and just because you're a filmmaker's daughter doesn't make you, give you the right to become a producer. Right. First you learn the ropes. So she's making her way up. With every successive project, she's doing pretty well for herself now. And Manan is 22, so I think after Delhi Files, he plans to go independent.
Oh, lovely, great. And what do you have to say? On any last words on the vaccine war?
Watch the film. That's all I want to say to this huge generation of young people that we have in our country. There is lots happening in our country for which you can be extremely proud of. And the first step towards is understanding how selflessly a lot of scientists have worked towards making this vaccine.
Right.
And the fact that you and I, we are sitting here today without any masks and doing this interview, or are even alive, and making this interview happen, it's thanks to all these people who have put in hours and hours in their laboratories. So for the work that they have done, let's just come and celebrate that.
Right.
And let's celebrate being Indians.
Great, great. Well, really looking forward to what you have created. And thank you so much. All the very best.
Thank you. Hello, this is Pallavi Joshi, and you're watching me on News 18 Showsha.